We got a beautiful day here in Kalamazoo. And as part of our visit to Kalamazoo today, we're going to be visiting the Discovery Center and the restoration facilities, where the volunteers spend many thousands of hours restoring old World War II aircraft. We're going to get a chance to spend some time with the volunteers, see how they do their craft, all their contribution to bringing these wonderful warbirds back to life for all of us to enjoy. So stay with us today. We're going to enjoy sharing their conversations, their stories, and all the work they've done to make the Air Museum here, the Air Zoo, such a wonderful visiting experience. I'm getting around the shop here today. You can hear everything going on, a lot of activity. It's really, it continues to be amazing to me on all fronts. So I'm here with Dan, and Dan works very closely with Greg. And you guys are kind of a team here, as I understand it, kind of keep things going. So how does that, what is your role in this? I think you're a full-time employee. Is that correct?
No, I'm actually part-time.
Part-time. Okay. Yeah. But you are actually, while you volunteer your spirit and soul, you're on a kind of a part-time basis.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm the assistant restoration manager under Greg. And truth, my background, very simply, is I've been an airplane geek since I was about 7 years old.
Okay.
And
which is pretty common around here, I hear.
Very, very much so. Yeah. You'll find everybody here has got some little tangent or major tangent to aviation.
Okay. Right.
Or history.
Yeah.
Either one. But it took me into a career in aerospace engineering.
Okay.
And that's my education. Here, I started out here in 2013 as a volunteer, like everybody else. And actually, my wife volunteered with me. About 4.5 years later, they posted my job for looking for somebody to help Greg,
right?
And I put in for it. I thought, shoot, yeah. And according to my job description, I'm actually supposed to spend a minimum of 90% of my time actually working on the airplane.
Oh, okay.
I do that anyway,
right?
But I get paid for it, so cool. So I did, got the job. I think the basic thing that I do is anything I can to facilitate what these guys do. Anything I can do to help them. Finding engineering drawings, ordering parts, ordering materials, anything I can do to help, including some hands-on stuff as well.
Right.
Yeah. So,
well,
I guess that's in a nutshell.
Well, that's a big nutshell.
Yeah,
because
it is.
It's a big nutshell. I don't. Hey, come on through.
Oh, I didn't know.
Work, yeah, we are, but work and stuff happens first here. That's what the beauty of this is. This is life. This is a real deal. This is what happens here. But, I think I hear what I hear in your voice and what I've heard from many other of your volunteers and your partners here is the sense of giving, the sense of helping each other out, the sense of learning.
Oh, yeah.
It goes so deep here. You have a culture that you can't, you can hear about coming through with the gurney.
Got some dead boards there.
Yeah.
Patient is unresponsive.
Yeah. It's the commitment and the family, the whole thing here. You have a culture that is really unique. And
it is.
I don't think you see it every day, and you're part of making it. And you and Greg, the way you guys operate, it's fascinating to me. And that's why I'm hoping somehow I can do it justice here, because you can't feel what I'm feeling without being right here.
Yeah, I understand.
It's something that you can't replicate.
Start with the camaraderie of everybody here. Everybody's got a finger or an arm or a leg or whatever in aviation in some way.
Right.
We have a very large percentage, certainly more than half of the volunteers are retired military. And many of them are flown. We have pilots, quite a few pilots in the group. We have home builders in the group. I mean, they come from everywhere. We have a 747 pilot retired in the group. We have an A-10 pilot in the group.
You're going to get one of those soon, too.
Yes, we are. Hopefully within the month or so.
Okay.
I mean, it's amazing what's here. And then you've got guys like me who built all the models and whatnot when I was younger, and read all the books, everything. Hung out at airports, all over wherever they went to. One of the first things you do is go visit the nearest airport,
right,
when you're on vacation or something,
right,
just to see what's going on. I mean, the aviation feeling is everywhere.
Well, I see it in all the people. Like you said, you have we'll let this gentleman get food by you here again. Yeah. Here comes patient has been secured.
Yeah.
So I like you said, the variety of experience you have here, and there are, I would say that the team here is more senior in age,
certainly,
and that brings a lot of in my opinion, that brings the ability of these people to work together the way you're doing.
Oh yeah, certainly the majority are in their 70s and 80s. I'm 80 myself. We have 3 or 4 guys in their 90s still come in every week and do what they can do. We have younger people as well. We like to think that we are teaching them as we go, because they're going to replace us someday.
Right.
We have about somewhere between 80 and 110 volunteers.
Okay.
That varies a little bit in the winter. A lot of us go south for the winter,
Okay.
Kind of things. We have, like I said before, we have ex-military, we have pilots, home builders, all of that. We have sheet metal workers, everybody from the trades, heavy machinery, et cetera. At the same time, we have a couple of retired teachers in the group. Really have no affiliation with airplanes until they came here, just looking for something to do. We have some retired business executives who probably never picked up a screwdriver until they got here.
Right.
That's
Well, we don't have to do that about all of them.
No. They come from all walks of life.
Well, and with that, the thing that I've noticed too is there isn't much you can approach that you can tap into that database of experience and then put a little bit of enthusiasm behind it. There isn't much you aren't conquering here.
Well, the cool thing is there's hardly a day go by that you don't learn something that you didn't know. And,
Everybody says,
when you come up with, when you're 80 years old, you think you know everything. And it's just a wealth of knowledge here. And everybody's more than willing to teach you or help you along. When I first came here, Greg pitched to me one day. I was here with my grandson. And he pitched to me, he says, "Why don't you come and help us?" And I remember responding to him, this, "Well, I don't know what I can do. I don't know anything about this kind of stuff." And he said, "Oh, there's something here anybody can do." And that's exactly right. That's exactly right. You learn as you go.
Right.
And you've got so many people here more than willing to help to teach you something. So every day.
And the things you're making, and I've been such pleasure talking to different teammates because they all said that the grand majority, of course, have that aviation tickle.
Yeah.
But they just enjoy the opportunity to work with their hands, use their minds. And I just want to hit it again because I think that it may not, I see it, so I'm on the outside looking in right now. I see your approach, and I think your approach and Greg's approach are, you're not on, I don't see nobody looking over someone's shoulder. Hey, that's got to be done by 3 this afternoon or something. No, but everybody takes the mindset they are on a mission, and it's an important mission. And there is a certain amount of, we want to keep moving the project forward. They have all got that, but they all know the other thing I hear consistently from your team is that just because you don't see it, I want it right.
Exactly. We owe that to the men and women who flew these airplanes and fought in these airplanes. We owe it to them to make this the very best product that we possibly can. Not just externally, but internally, even though you might never see the inside of it, ever. We know it's there.
You know
it's there. Correct. We owe it to them to do that.
I've seen a couple of different elements. Well, there's so many, but your team pointed out and said, you see, nobody's going to see that, but that bolt isn't right there, and I'm going to fix it. This tension strap, you see that? That was not right, and we're going to get that straightened away so it's right. And they know it, and that's really the win-win in this thing. And that's, I know, and I've enjoyed that aviation. I've been to many museums like all of us have, but I have a completely different takeaway from visiting your team, the standard, the motivation, and the bar that you're setting. And I, once again, for second or third time, hats off to you and Greg for your leadership and your style that is making this success. It wouldn't happen that way without the right.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
It's really good. So anyway, thanks, Dan. We're going to see you around. I'm going to be hanging around, talking to more of your teammates here.
You're going to get your hands dirty.
That's okay. I said one time I could use a screwdriver too, so maybe I can jump in there if they need somebody to hold the dead end of the tape or something. That's for me. So once again, I'll talk to you later. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Here we are. We're kind of in the working zone of the SBD-1, and I've got Joe with me, who is one of the volunteers here, and agreed to spend some time with me and tell me a little bit about how long you've been here in this role, and then we talk about some other stuff.
Okay. Well, I've been here about 3 years. It turned out that my neighbor used to be the HR director here, and her husband said, well, why don't you go over there and do some work? And I said, let's give it a try. And been here 3 years now, and I really enjoy it. So,
And so you've been, you're on the Dauntless here, the SBD-1.
Yes.
Have you worked on some of the other restorations in the last 3 years?
When I first got here, there was the Wildcat in the next bay over. Did a little bit of work on there, but the SBD was sitting here at that time too, so I kind of migrated over into this area and saw the canopies up on the shelf and asked if anybody was working on it, and they said no, and I said, could I do it? And they said yeah, so I got into the canopies and putting latches and cables on those, and then there were just small things that needed to be done, putting Bondo and sanding things down smooth, and then I kind of got into this. One of the parts of the canopy was the bomb sight. So we got the bomb sight here. This is part of one of the bomb sites. This goes through the windshield of the plane, and this is where the pilot, here's one that's more complete, that the pilot would look through when he was in a dive. So, and we have peep sights, and this is a clamp for that holds it in place. And there's the opposite side of the peep sight, and this is pretty much
what I found here in my time so far is that so much stuff that you guys have to remake from ground zero. And the different tools you have, and just much of it, from what I can tell, is you got to look at a picture and say, this is what it's supposed to look like, and figure it out from there.
This was completely researched because we did not have a bomb sight here. It disappeared somewhere along the line. So this is actually a flagpole that I found, and most of this stuff is actually 3D printed, which is amazing. These peep sights are 3D printed. This cushion on the back is 3D printed. This little knob here is 3D printed. These pieces are 3D printed. This is 3D printed.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of things. It's just amazing that without the 3D printing that kind of pulls all these all this stuff
Yes.
together.
Kids
And
call that Weebee print.
Weebee print.
This is probably the only thing that I made that's to a print. This little clamp here, that was actually to a print, and it was a piece of scrap metal that was bent to the form that was on the print, and the coupler on the back was to the print, and everything else on this thing is pretty much man-made. I used lenses out of either a magnifying glass or a camera, so it's
And what's amazing, and this you're going to hear this. I've seen this same story all the way through here. This is just one part, right, of this bigger
Yes.
picture, and
Yes.
there are 100 stories, if
Yes.
not more,
yeah.
with the same kind of determination
Mm-hmm.
to take a piece that you had that came up from Lake Michigan that was rusted or destroyed or whatever,
Yes.
and you had to come up with a way to create the artifact in its new condition.
Yes, that's correct.
Just really, really cool. And so the other thing, Joe, you were telling me about, you were showing me around a little bit earlier today and yesterday afternoon, I guess it was, but you back in your earlier days were on the Apollo.
Yes, the Apollo program. Yes,
Apollo program. And what is that? That was just a couple of days ago.
Yeah, that was 57 years ago, something like that. Yeah, and it was a job that I just fell into. It was just unbelievable. I moved from Detroit to California to work on actually a defense job at North American Aviation, and lost my job there and went to work at their space division, not even knowing that the Apollo program was going on. And like I said, it just kind of fell into that job. So
that was on Apollo.
I probably worked on all of them, but I worked on Apollo 8, I worked on Apollo 11, and I know I didn't work on Apollo 13. That one I saw it. Yeah, I was,
He was the lead designer on that one.
yeah, right.
He hasn't changed his story yet.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, he says it's something between 8 and 11 and 13.
Yeah, right.
But that was, I think you were saying a few years ago, you were 20, 21 years old?
20
Oh my
years
gosh.
old when I moved out there, yeah. And now that I can't even imagine my kid at 20 going, that far away,
Right.
2,500 miles away from home. Anyway.
That's cool. Very, very good. What a great contribution, and what a wonderful program that was too.
Yeah.
But you've got, this is really cool. Some
right.
of the stuff you've.
Thank you, yes. Yeah, this is the bullet resistant glass, and it goes through here and then through that porthole there.
Okay, so when you're going straight down, you're
Yes.
looking.
The pilot's looking right straight down the tube there. So.
Oh wow. Wow. I mean, it's just a whole inventory of different parts. And you made all of this too then? You had to remake
No, I gotta admit, when it came here, there was some restoration done on it, and the canopy glasses were already made.
this? Okay.
The
But
only thing that I had to make was this. We made this. No, I don't think we made this, but we had to make these tubes because
Okay.
these are like the defroster tubes here.
okay.
But I did make this cable for a light that goes on the back of the compass
The
there.
compass there, so he knows where
And
you're going.
nobody else has ever made one of these. And when I saw it, I said, well, how come there's a connector on the back of this, And somebody said, I don't know. I said, well, I said it must be for a light. So I just put a little connector in there and then put a wire in there. And that wire will just drop inside the fuselage somewhere.
Well, you were telling me also that you're an electrical engineer, I think, is
Yes.
some of your formal training. So we were kind of comparing engineering notes yesterday, and you
right.
showed me some of the electrical work and how all the interconnect on the Dauntless there.
Yeah.
But great work, Joe.
thank you.
I know we're going to talk some more, but I do appreciate you taking a few minutes here in the day. The crew is all after it today. I love it.
I appreciate it. It's actually fun to talk about it because that stuff about working on Apollo, it was in the back of my mind. It's something that I did a long time ago. Didn't define my career at all. I designed I designed circuits for transmissions, believe it or not.
Okay.
So
Well,
it was
we had to have that or it didn't
I
work.
know,
So don't.
but,
Yeah, I wouldn't downplay that at all. I think that's a neat element of your life that was pretty fun.
I think that it all was in the background, and I didn't realize that I really enjoyed planes and aerospace and that, but because my job took me in a different direction, I didn't think about it that much until I got here. And then all of this stuff started coming back, and now I'm working on, I used to build model airplanes, now I'm building
The real
full
one.
size of airplanes, and it's like I'm going full circle in 55 years. It's just an amazing thing. You know?
And it looks like, you know, everyone here, the teamwork and the enjoyment is just off the chart.
Well, before I became an engineer, I went to night school for like 9.5 years to get my degree. I was a technician at Eaton, and in research and development, and all of that was exactly this stuff, building everything from scratch. I built so many things from scratch because they're all prototypes, you know. So this is coming, like I said, coming full circle.
So all those things, well, you downplayed a little bit. They all played into your success today.
Yes. All right.
Well, hey, we're going to talk to you some more.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
I'll let you get back to work. Anyway, so I'm here with James and Tim, two more of the volunteers, and there's many of them here today working on the Dauntless. And I caught them in the midst of a discussion about, at first I thought they were putting it together, and then they said they were fixing it.
Yes.
And as I noticed yesterday, I got a quick look at some things yesterday and all the different, the number of bolts and holes and how this all has to match up. And so once again, I'm going to let you back to the story. What's going on here?
We're removing the nylocks that were not available back in the day. So whoever did this we need to replace them with, what is it?
Lock washers or castle nuts.
Castle nuts, that's it.
Okay. Okay, so these look like they were new, right? So these were put in here, I guess.
These are modern day nuts.
Okay.
And they look like a castle nut,
Right.
but they got nylon.
Like one of those
inside.
acorn top nuts you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So we got to replace all of these.
And someone has already started that, right? But you're going to change them out?
And this has to be countersunk on the bottom.
Oh, let me feel that. I feel that, yeah.
Yeah, because they put regular nuts on here.
Okay,
So now they have to be replaced.
okay.
And
Okay, so you've started that already? These are the
Yes.
ones you've replaced already?
This plane was at 3 other museums before us. And so I don't think we had anything to do with this. But when we pulled this plate off and all that kind of stuff, we found these nuts here, which weren't available back then, like James had said. So we're probably going to put the castle nuts on, and then they have to be countersunk under there. I think he already mentioned that.
Okay.
And so that's what he's
So you
doing
have some
now.
machine work too as well then?
no.
Or are
Yes.
they already countersunk?
No,
So
they're not.
Okay, because I feel one over here.
Well,
It
yeah,
feels
that's
like it's a little
right
bit-
here.
Oh, is that right there? Okay, yeah. And then I feel the nuts on these. Yeah.
This is what
Yep.
they look like, the countersinks. So, and are they going to wire nut these?
I don't know. This is one of them places that's not ever going to be seen,
Right.
but that hasn't been the spirit of this airplane, because if you'll notice the engine that we did, we've super detailed that to the ultimate. And it was just because we had guys that were willing on the team to do that. I mean, these guys are amazing.
Well, you know, I think one of the things that Greg was saying is that just because you don't see it doesn't mean you don't go in and fix it.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's
That's
not a
right.
paint job over the top.
Right.
It's you're moving in, getting into the insides of this thing, and this kind of detail that's why I think it's. I'm seeing it. I'm realizing it as I had the opportunity to see what you guys are doing. I mean, look at these tie downs and stuff, and this stuff here. That's all stuff you put in.
Yeah.
Correct.
For nobody's going to see that, but that's how it really was.
Right. Yeah.
And not only does maybe not everybody sees it once it's all together, but the experience you guys must get from seeing a lot of this stuff too really just amplifies
Yep.
your team's ability to do
Oh,
things.
yeah, definitely.
Yep.
It's
I was not military. I know James was.
I see that. What was your service?
Navy.
Navy?
Yeah. Vietnam.
Did you? Okay.
Oh, a helicopter ship.
Okay. So you were
2 years over there.
okay. Probably plenty enough. But
Yeah, so enough.
yeah. And so how long? And what were your?
I'm just a man off the street that lives close by, and I love airplanes, and we're able to have the public come in and work on these, and I've been here almost 9 years now.
Okay. Wow. How about you, James?
I've been here 3 years.
Okay. Okay. And you both live, I guess, relatively close or in the area?
Not really. I live over by Plainwell Airport.
How far is?
Whoops, I live about 7 minutes from here.
Okay.
I'm about a half hour from
Okay.
here.
Okay. But not too difficult to get here for,
Oh, no,
for a little
no.
bit of time. That's really
It's just getting up at 6 in the morning to get here.
well. Look who you get to work with and everything. I mean, you know, you get to. I just am fascinated at the number of people that are here, and you guys are just. Everybody's just making it happen, doing stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's nobody standing around not thinking about what they're. And if they are, it's just that one moment of how am I going to do this right?
Exactly.
How something's going to happen
Yeah.
here. So
For sure.
With me not being military, I have found out that how quality these guys are. You know, personality-wise and work-wise, it's just amazing.
the work ethic and
Work ethic, the camaraderie that we have, friendships we built, and it's just almost like a laugh a minute.
well,
At times, you know.
well, there.
So-
When I watch what's going on, the term that I thought about in very short order was family.
Yeah.
The way you treat each other.
Yep.
And there's a little
yeah.
bit of busting on each other, but in a very respectful and adoring way
Yeah.
versus the destructive way.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, yeah.
so you guys have really shown the cool stuff. Anyway, thanks for taking a minute. You'll see me kind of getting around. I really
Okay.
appreciate it. And I thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for doing this great work, because and I just hope I can share some of what the detail stuff that goes on here, because you're really, the bar is setting it very high. So thanks
Oh,
again.
yeah.
Enjoy
Thank
it.
you.
We'll talk to you a little bit. I caught you right in the middle of a really important cut there.
Yeah.
And you're at kind of at the tail end. And Don.
Yeah.
Real quick, how long have you been, before we get into, how long have you been volunteering here?
I've been volunteering here about 1.5 years.
Okay. And I think you when we bumped into each other earlier, you mentioned that you were an A&P
Yes.
mechanic for a
Yep.
good bit of time.
Yep.
So being around aircraft is something you were
Oh, yeah.
fairly accustomed to.
Yep.
But anyway, so this is still part of the Dauntless.
Yes.
As you the control elements, and you are putting fabric on.
Putting fabric on. Yep.
And how does that all come about?
Okay. Well, this is not what they used originally. They used the linen originally, but this
Okay.
is a modern equivalent. It's a polyester. It's called the polyfiber system, and basically I've got this rough cut here now. So now it's just the cutting it to fit, and then you use this glue.
And you put the glue underneath it to adhere it, or is it on
You start
top
at the
somehow?
edge, and normally you start on a trailing edge,
Okay.
because when the wind comes over, it won't
Tear it off.
tear off these.
Okay, so it's around the
So
front
it's around
altogether,
the front.
and
It's
the connection
completed.
point is back here.
Yep, in the back.
Okay.
This glue is really strong, but anyway, you make your cuts, and you just glue it to fit, but you leave a little bit of slack to it. You can see like this one.
Okay.
It's
I
still
was
got slack.
wondering how tight it has to be.
You don't want it very tight at all. Now with these, it's not bad because you have a metal frame. But originally with the fiber, with the cloth covering, because you shrink it on the old wooden ones, you had to be very specific about how much slack you left, because when you iron this,
It could
It
break.
shrinks.
Okay.
and that's how it gets tight.
Okay.
So
Okay.
we will shrink it, and once we get it down, it'll be like a drum. And actually, I can show you. we're in the process of putting these together for the docents so they can show people.
Okay, so that's what this will look like
Yep.
when you.
This is once the fabric is glued.
Okay.
This is called polybrush. This seals the fabric. It keeps the rain out, keeps the wind from going through.
Okay.
So the docents will be able to show people this is the fabric, this is a reinforcing strip, this is the sewing that we do because you sew it to the frame so it doesn't.
Oh, okay. That's the next. So that'll be
the
sewed
next
at these
step.
points.
Yep.
Okay.
And then they have a poly spray. It's a silver coating, which we will put over this part. Well, it'll be over both of them, but it'll be over this part. And then your final color will go over the poly spray.
Okay.
So then they'll be able to see all four stages of it. But this is how it looks.
Okay, well, that's a great example of what it's supposed to look like. Boy, the time once again, the time
And
that
then-
you put into
Yeah.
that.
That's why I'm doing these now. We have the elevators are already covered and they're on the storage shelf back there.
Okay.
We've got the 2 elevators and the rudder, and we want to get these to the poly spray stage. Everything will be pink, everything will be tight, all the reinforcing strips will be on, and then they all go into the booth and get the poly spray put on, and then the final paint.
Wow. Wow.
So it's a long process.
Oh, I've come to find that everything is a long process,
Yeah,
and
it is.
Your spirit of never giving up is really wonderful. Man, that's really cool. Very cool.
But they've done these up pretty nice because right here, this is where your trim tab is,
Right.
and we have the controls. We will actually, when we get done, these will be mounted in here for the trim tabs, and they'll be spring loaded into the center position. So they'll still be able to move,
But they'll be held in
they'll
that
be
one
held
side.
in position.
Very neat. Very neat.
But yeah, it's a lot of fun. Like I said, I'd never done this as an AMP. I did 20 years in the Navy, never worked fabric there,
Right.
obviously. And then when I retired and started working civilian aviation, it was all metal.
All metal.
So when I got here, it was like, I see these guys over here doing this, and it's like, I'm interested in that. And they said, yeah, go for it. Go talk to Laird. Laird is the gentleman.
Last time you volunteer for something,
Yeah.
right? But no, everybody takes on something that's just one piece, another piece, and
Yep.
it all fits together. So
Yep. A lot of people aren't interested in this because of the meticulous aspect of the
Right.
job. You have to be pretty particular. And Laird, he was an instructor at an AMP school, a college up north, and he's very particular about how things are done. So we still do everything by the book. If the FAA came in here and inspected, we would pass.
that's wonderful.
So
Really great work, and I hear that same theme that everybody enjoys doing whatever they're
yeah,
doing. So,
yeah.
you can hear the work on all fronts. So
I enjoyed doing it in AMP school. The one time I did it, and it's like, sure.
you don't have to
Everybody
edit
was telling me, well, we need somebody to come in and do this. So it's like, okay, I'll do it.
Perfect.
It's fun.
Well, I'm gonna let you get back to the glue
All right.
work. Thank you. Behind every rivet, every panel, and every piece of history, there's a person here at the restoration facility that brought it to life. Volunteers who show up with purpose, pride, and a shared commitment to something bigger than themselves. The words culture, attitude, teamwork, and service come to mind. Those are more than words here. It's how they work, it's how they lead, and it's how they preserve history. And I had a chance to see it firsthand. In the next episode, we will explore more stories from skilled craftsmen helping preserve history for all of us. So stay tuned for the next episode of our visit to the restoration facility at the Air Zoo in Kalamazoo, Michigan. Thanks for joining us today, and join us in our next O Fly Guy conversation.